Greetings, everybody. It's me, your friendly neighborhood Uncle Pete, and this is the latest installment in my horror movie superlative series that I am collaborating with my good friend Carl Cook. We are discussing 1972 this week, and we're looking at all the horror movies released that year. And Carl and I are picking out some horror movie superlatives in 7 categories. And if you can do me a favor, so if I entertain you even just a little bit during this video, I hope you consider hitting that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. And also subscribe to Carl's channel as well, because he puts out really great in-depth movie reviews every week. My channel here, I have my horror movie superlatives, which come out every Wednesday. And the mainstay of my channel is my Nails in a Coffin series, which is a ton of fun. Those videos come out every Friday. And I'll put a link up there to some of the recent videos, so I really hope you check them out. After you watch this video, please go to Crown's channel. Link will be in the description. And after you watch both videos, titled the same, go to the community tab on Crown's page, and then we need everybody to vote on who they thought had the better picks for 1972. Whether those picks most closely resembled what you would have picked or who had the best justifications. It's up to you. Just please make sure you watch both videos first before you vote, and we really appreciate it. Well, that seems about it for now, so let's get down to it and let's pick out some horror movie superlatives for 1972. My selection for the most amazing horror movie to come out in 1972 goes to Wes Craven's directorial debut, Last House on the Left. Dark, disturbing, very unsettling. People actually thought this was a snuff film when it was first released. This film has a legacy for a reason. Wes Craven really did something else here. The movie's about Mary and her friend Phyllis. They attend a concert on Mary's 17th birthday. They go looking for some weed to purchase, but they find a group of escaped convicts instead, and they're tortured and raped. Krug is one of the scariest villains I've ever seen in horror. The gangs, they kill the girls, and then they take refuge in a nearby house owned by one of the girls' parents. Parents find out who these people really are and plot a night of revenge that no one will ever forget. The assault on these two women is really a tough watch, but the revenge that the parents get is really fantastic. I had to put Last House on the Left as my most amazing horror movie of 1972 because this movie really is horrifying, because this type of stuff can happen in real life, and unfortunately it has happened in real life. And when you really show that true horror, I think it makes it an amazing movie. I think even the poster said, keep telling yourself it's only a movie, it's only a movie. You know, if you want a most amazing movie, really should be able to scare an audience, and I think Last House on the Left really does that, and I had to select it for my most amazing horror movie of 1972. For my So Bad It's Good film, I love this movie, Vampire Circus. I watched this movie last year when it came to Shudder, and I thoroughly enjoyed it very much. It's about a plague that runs rampant through countryside, and a quarantine village is visited by a traveling circus, and then the children start to disappear. The acting is a bit silly at times, with people running straight at the vampire with their stake over their head, and they pretty much just run into the vampire's teeth pretty much. But I really still enjoy this movie. It's kind of hard for me to put this movie in So Bad It's Good category because it's not really a bad movie. It's a solid vampire flick that is a lot of fun. The movie does have some flaws. It's slow in some spots, and some padding. It kind of takes a while to really get going where you're really enjoying it. But I think if you enjoy Hammer horror films in general, you'll enjoy this one, and I really think you should check it out. And if you want to watch it, it is free on Tubi. So, yeah, my selection for So Bad It's Good movie of 1972 goes to Vampire Circus. For my most WTF movie, I had to select Terror at Red Wolf Inn. It's about a co-ed on vacation, and she realizes something is very wrong at the Red Wolf Inn when the elderly couple who run the place start serving strange meals to their guests. There's a scene where everybody is in the inn is eating, and you get real close-ups of them eating, and it just goes on for long, and it's just kind of gross to watch. They're feeding these guests to fatten them up, only to kill them later. And there is one scene that can only be described as WTF, and this is what the scene is. Shark! 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 And with a little bit of research, I found out that this was not simulated. They really killed a shark, so F this movie. I have to say WTF what was going on when they decided to do that. And I'm not saying this is a good movie. I'm not going to say recommend it because of the animal cruelty in it, but it definitely made me go WTF a couple times in the movie, especially when I found out, what they actually did in it. So yeah, WTF movie for sure. My selection for best gore goes to Lucio Fulci's Don't Torture a Duckling. One of the best giallos I've ever seen. Like I said, it was directed by the icon of the genre, Lucio Fulci. The plot follows a detective investigating a series of child murders in a village in southern Italy whose residents are riddled with superstition and mistrust. This is one of Lucio Fulci's first films where he started using violent gore effects, and he would continue to use those effects in such films as Zombie 2, The Beyond, and City of the Living Dead. The gore effects in this movie are excellent, and there's one scene where Majalia, I believe her name is whipped to death by a bunch of men using heavy chains. And this scene goes on for a while, and it's a vicious beating. And I think the effects are great because it looks like this would really happen if someone was continually whipped with a heavy chain. So yeah, a great giallo film, highly, highly recommended. And it pretty much paved the way for a future Lucio Fulci film. So I had to select it for my best gore pick. And my selection for the most unique movie to come out in 1972 goes to Night of the Lepus. It's a movie about giant killer rabbits. I'm sorry, but if that's not unique, I don't know what is. Not because it's a giant killer animal movie, because they've been, many of those movies have been made. But most of the time, they're giant apes, lizards, bugs, leeches, sea monsters, and even humans. Nothing even close to a cute and fluffy bunny. And you never really see a bunny do something that's evil. Okay, well, almost never. This is a great movie, and it's not bad either. It is fun to watch. But yeah, I think it's unique because it's got giant killer rabbits, and yeah, there's been giant killer monster movies. Many movies have been made about giant killer animals, but first one I've ever seen where they're fluffy bunnies, and to me that's real unique. Definitely check this movie if you want to watch one of the most unique horror movies to come out in 1972. And my selection for the most overrated horror movie goes to Beware the Blob, a sequel to 1958's The Blob. This movie was just too campy for me. It's this movie sandwiched between the original and arguably one of the best remakes ever made in the history of horror. The beginning of the movie starts where a pipeline engineer returns from the North Pole with the mysterious substance that he's keeping in his freezer, but it gets left out on the kitchen counter and it starts to thaw. It eats a fly, and then it eats their cat, so F this movie. It eats his wife, who just kind of stands there as the blob touches her, and then it winds up eating him. And of course, the blob is going to continue to grow. It has a real comedic tone, way more than the original. And to me, that doesn't work because the blob, to me, is one of the most horrifying killers in a horror movie because it only exists to consume. There's no reasoning with it. You have a better chance to convince the Terminator or a Graboid to leave you alone. Like I said, I didn't care for the comedic undertones in this movie. The ending was bad. You got a bunch of people standing on top of a now frozen blob after they froze it in an ice skating rink. And there's TV cameras doing a live broadcast. Lights melt a piece of the blob and it oozes down and moves on top of this man's foot. And then he looks down at it, looks up at the camera like he just stepped in a pile of dog poop. So, real silly. I don't think comedy really works with movies like with the blob in it. So, I don't think this is really a good movie. Check out 1958's or the remake. Those are great movies. But Beware the Blob is the most overrated horror movie to come out in 1972. And finally, my selection for the most underrated horror movie goes to Tales from the Crypt, an excellent underrated horror anthology film. Five strangers go with a tourist group to view some old catacombs. They get separated from the main group and find themselves in a room with the mysterious crypt keeper, who details to each of them how they may die. The stories are All Through the House, Reflection of Death, Poetic Justice, Wish You Were Here, and Blind Alleys. My two favorite stories are All Through the House and Blind Alleys. It's about a killer Santa all through the house and this story was actually used in the Tales from the Crypt HBO series. I do also love Blind Alleys. It's where a rich man, he mistreats people, and then he's forced to go through a tight alley lined with razor blades as a starving dog is chasing him. Very unsettling scene in the movie. Great movie altogether. All the stories is great, as well as the wraparound story. Underrated horror anthology film you don't hear a lot about. And as far as horror anthologies go, this was a very early one, and it's excellent. So if you like tales about evil people getting their comeuppance, then you're definitely going to enjoy this underrated horror movie anthology from the early 70s. Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Those are all my selections. Here's a quick summary. Most amazing, Wes Craven's terrifying Last House on the Left. So Bad It's Good movie, Vampire Circus. Most WTF, Terror at Red Wolf Inn. F this movie, I don't recommend it. Best Gore, Lucio Fulci's Don't Torture a Duckling. Most unique movie, Night of Giant Fluffy Bunnies, Night of the Lepus. Most overrated, the disappointing Beware the Blob. And most underrated, Tales from the Crypt. Thanks again for watching this video. Now, please go to Carl's channel if you haven't already. I'll have a link in the description. And watch his video with the same name. And then go to the community tab on his page. And please vote on who you thought had the better picks. Also, let me know in the comments down below what your selections would be. I love reading those comments, and I love to read what you guys thought of my selections and what movies you would have selected. Again, do me a favor, if I was able to entertain you even just a little bit, I'd really appreciate it if you could hit that subscribe button and help me grow this channel. And again, please check out my Nails in a Coffin series. Those videos are a lot of fun. That's about it, ladies and gentlemen. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Stay safe. Stay happy. Stay healthy. I am your friendly neighborhood Uncle Pete. And remember, with great kills, there must also come great nails.